Hi there. Okay, I'm back with you. We're going to talk some more about real estate and real estate investing. And today's video is going to be on something called a lease option. So a lease option is a two-part contract. So just so you know, it's two parts. You got the lease and you got the option. So this house directly behind me, outside the window right here, is the first house that I did a lease option on. And the gentleman who owns it today is the guy that I sold it to. But I did a lease option on this house, and this lease option was brought to me by an agent. I told the agent I was looking for a lease option, and I'd never done one. And I don't think the agent ever did one either, as a matter of fact. But we did a 3-year lease option on this house. And for those of you who don't know what lease options are or the benefits of lease options, I'll tell you right now. Okay, so the benefit of a lease option is that you could, okay, so let's say, let me give you some examples. Let's say that the normal rent, because back then, this is some years ago that I lease optioned this house. This is like 20 years ago or something. Okay, so this house here, back then the rent would have been, let's say, $1,200 a month, something like that. So I lease optioned it for, let's say, $1,300 or $1,400. It's so long, I can't remember all the details, but this is basically how it worked, for $1,300 or $1,400. And what you do is you build into it to where every month that you pay the lease on time, what happens is $300, $400, $200. It's whatever you work out with the seller. That dollar amount gets credited to you as a buyer credit when you actually go to exercise the option. So it's great. So you get some kind of built-in equity every month because that's going toward principal in a sense, right? Not in a sense. I mean, it is. It's exactly going toward principal. So it's great financing. You can look at it like a great part of financing. So I did that here at this house. I did a 3-year lease option. So I did all the payments on time. And when I came to the lease option, the realtor said to me, "Oh, the guy, he lives out of state. He really, really needs somebody to move in the house." It was vacant. And she says, he really needs somebody to move in the house or he's going to lose it. He can't keep making the payments. He can't afford it. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. When somebody starts really giving you a big, long song and dance and sob story about all this stuff, I don't know. My general rule of thumb is just tell them to stop. Tell them, no, stop. I don't want to hear that part of the story. Just give me the facts, okay? Just stick with the facts. I don't want to hear, parts to try to emotionally manipulate me, because that's what somebody's trying to do. If somebody starts giving you all that stuff, they're trying to hook you emotionally, and all of a sudden draw emotions into it's a business transaction. You got to remember that. And you have to think logically as a business transaction. No emotions can come into the fact, or they're going to affect your good sense of judgment, let's say, okay? So anyways, so I did the lease option. I didn't really, again, it was my first one. I didn't really know what I was doing. And the agent, again, it was her first one. I don't think she knew what she was doing. So we got to the 2.5-year point, lived here for 2.5 years, and it was a 3-year lease option. So I started thinking, okay, it's time to start to get this thing, exercise it, because of the fact that I didn't want it to run out, right? I wanted to get taken care of ahead of time. Okay, so I told the guy that I was going to exercise the option. I went and listed the house, okay, because you have a right to do that as the less optionee. So, or do you, right? Here's the question. Okay, this is part of what I'm going to say here. So I listed the house for sale for $171,000. As a matter of fact, that's what I sold this for. So it was $171,000, $178,000, something like that. So, anyways, I sold the house and put it in escrow, I should say. Put it in escrow, and I started dealing with the seller, the guy who gave me the option, right? And it came down to the point where it was getting real, right? I was really going to sell the house. And guess what? He didn't want to cooperate. That's right. He did not want to cooperate, and I'll never forget this. So this is where I'm going to save you guys a ton of money if you just listen to my story here. He literally said to me on the phone, I never met the man in person, but he literally said to me on the phone, he said, Paul, over my dead body will I ever sign that deed for anybody but you. Okay, so what does that mean when he says that? Okay, so I didn't have the credit at the time or the verifiable income to qualify for the loan, right? And this was my intention from the beginning. I tried to build my stuff up, build my credit up, build my income up, my verifiable income up, so that I could exercise the option myself. And it turned out years later went by in a snap, and I didn't realize it. So I was going to assign it to somebody else and let them exercise the option for me, right? And I think I was actually going to, no, I wasn't going to do that. What I was going to do was I was going to assign it, yes, but I was going to assign it directly to my buyer, right? So that's what I was going to do, and I was going to keep the spread, right? So I was selling it for more than what I had it under contract for, and I was going to keep the difference. And this guy was going to have no part of it. He said, nope, I'm not going to do that. And so real estate kept going up and up and up. I got into this thing right at the right time. It kept going up and up and up. And so he didn't want to do that. So basically he was going to try to screw me out of the whole deal, right? Okay, so so I put on my thinking cap, and I'm like, I've invested 3 years of my life into this deal, and I don't want to, let it go. I mean, I deserve it because I made all the payments on time to this guy, right? Okay, so at the time I owned my own business, and again, this is the verifiable income part. I was totally self-employed. I knew this lady, and her dad was quite wealthy. And so we were talking one day, and it just dawned on me, and I said, Catherine, do you think your dad might lend me the money? Because I'm in a tough spot in this lease option I'm in, and the guy won't let me exercise it unless I, do it myself, so to speak. And she says to me, I don't know, why don't you ask him? He's right here. And she hands him the phone. And so, now her dad is ex-military. I've met him a few times. He's a very serious guy. He was a colonel or something like this in the military. And so he's a very serious kind of guy, right? And so the second she handed him the phone, I thought, flashed through my mind, oh my God, I've got to get it together here. And I've got to present this whole scenario to this guy. I have about 30 seconds, roughly, right around there, to totally explain the deal I'm in and what I'm after. Now, he was he was into stocks, actually, but he did some businesses too, and he did some private lending. And so it wasn't his first go around at lending money or doing business and stuff like this, right? So I told him very quickly, I'm in a lease option. I've been in it for 2.5 years. It's time for me to exercise the option. However, the guy selling me the property will not allow me to assign the option to the buyer. I already have a buyer. He won't allow me to assign the deal, and so I need cash. So the amount, I still remember the amount. The amount was, I believe, $152,000. So I told Harry, I said, look, I need $152,000 cash to close the first leg of the deal, and then I'm gonna turn around because I already have the buyer, or actually already in escrow. I said, so in order for me to flip it, keep the spread. And I'll never forget this. It still brings a big lump in my throat, I swear. But he just said, okay. That was it. Just like that. Because they knew me. They knew I was a good businessman. They knew I was a hard worker because of his daughter. His daughter was actually selling the product that I was manufacturing. And and they met me actively. I was actively out selling my product, and they met me, and so they knew I was a hard worker, right? So anyhow, so he just said, okay. He says, this is actually what he said. He said, okay. He goes, give me the name and address of the escrow company. He goes, and I'll send him a check. And I said, stupid me. I said, you sure you don't want to wire them the money or something like that? He goes, nope. He goes, when's your escrow supposed to close? I told him. He goes, no, it's no big deal. He goes, I'll just send him a check. It'll be fine. I'll just put it in the mail. So I gave him I scrambled to get the name and all this stuff. So I scrambled. I got the name of the escrow company, got the address. I sent it to him, and he just turned around and sent in a check. Right now, what I said is it. That's the truth, and that's it. So, because I know you guys, some of you are thinking, wait a minute, where's the contract? Where's the loan documents? Where's the trust deed? Paul, you're leaving all that out. You forgot about all that. How did that work in exactly, right? Because there's a lot of nuances, right, to real estate, right? Well, guess what? I didn't leave anything out. He didn't ask for me to sign anything. Basically, he gave me $152,000 on a handshake. Only we didn't even shake hands. It was all over the phone. And so I never signed anything. I never signed a deed. I never signed loan documents with him. I never recorded a trust deed for him. I never signed a promissory note. Nothing. I signed nothing. It was just handshake. Boom. Here's $152,000. So he wanted. Now he was going to charge me money. So I told him I should have the money for like 2 to 3 months. And I said, because I'm already in escrow. And he said, he's a very wise guy, right? He said, well, he goes, I understand what you're saying. He goes, but I don't think you're going to do it that fast. He goes, I think it's going to take you 5 to 6 months. He told me that right there on the same conversation. He goes, but that's okay. I understand. He goes, but I'll send the money in. So he sent the money in. And I'll get back to the details of the story. But he sent the money in, and I completed the transaction. And I ended up selling this house right here. And like I said, I sold it for 175, 178, something like that. And okay, so he charged me. It wasn't free money, right? Because I told him I'd paid for it up front. I told him I'll pay you, interest or cost for the money or something like this. Did that just? No, okay. I got a call. I'm freaking out. I have to stop my recording. Okay, so I ended up. He wanted $4,000 for a fee. He wanted $4,000 in interest fee for loaning me the money. So it turns out when I sold the deal, I gave him extra. I gave him $6,000 on top of the original $152, and that I paid him back. And he was happy as a clam, right? He was really happy. So, anyways, here's another part of the story. I sold his properties to some people who they didn't really qualify. So this is another facet to it. I should probably put that in another video because it's getting kind of lengthy, but I will do that. But anyway, so that was my lease option. And so after this lease option, I went directly and did another one. And the story of that one is even more beneficial and just as interesting. And just as interesting as how I got into it. And I will, I think this fan's looking at what I'm doing here. I don't know. Anyways, I'll make another video in reference to the second lease option. So I'm on Hudson Street right now. The second one is on Louisiana Avenue. And they're both, well, this one's in Arupa Valley now. That one's in Riverside. But I'll go over that, and you guys will find it very interesting, I think, all the details. And, of course, the ending details on this one, too. Okay, till the next video.